Hi everyone, it's Leona with Leona's Designs. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for visiting today. I am hoping to make a journal today out of a cake mix box. I have done this before and it's worked out well. I made this journal, I believe it was last year. It's a little padded cover journal that I created with some fabric and batting and a slow stitch piece that I appliqued on. And I also made this one. It's a fabric covered journal with a little pocket on the front. And those are both made out of cake mix box. They have two signatures in them. Today I'm hoping to just put one signature because I'm making this journal for a specific May journal challenge and I only need 32 pages. So I thought one signature would be plenty. So I've gone ahead and cut all the tabs off the cake mix box, which leaves me this. And the measurements are about 5.5 by 7. So the pages would be like 5 by 7. And the spine is about 1.25 inches. And I have this material, which I've already cut. This pink material, it's the same as that other journal I showed you. And I have some batting here. And what I'm hoping to do is place this batting on the back side of this pink piece and go to the sewing machine and just randomly stitch all around like I did with this one. I think it makes a very nice looking journal cover and it feels nice. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. If you want to make a journal like this, of course you wouldn't have to do that. If you don't have a sewing machine, you could just get some material of your choice and glue it to this cake mix box cover. And I would do it on this side where the printing is. This side I will be covering with scrapbook paper after I finish this side. So if you didn't want to do any sewing, you would just glue your material to this side. And for that purpose, I use Fabri-Tac glue. So I will be using Fabri-Tac glue at some point in this tutorial. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and to the sewing machine. I'm just going to stitch this, and then I don't think I'm going to sew it down to this cake mix box. I will be gluing it with the Fabri-Tac. So I'll be back. Okay, I'm back and I've got it all stitched. I just stitched randomly, just in circles and up and down and all around. No really any pattern, just wanted to get it stitched. I think it's going to look nice. I pressed it down. So now this is going to be my front cover. So when I lay this down, I want this part that I want to be the front on this side. And I think it's going to be this one because I stitch a bunch of circles on here. I think it'll look good. So I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to put this side here so that this will be my cover, my front cover. And then I'm going to get my Fabri-Tac. Fabri-Tac is for fabric and paper, and it really does a great job for gluing on covers. I'm going to use a little bit of that, not too much. And I'll start on one side, make sure that's down, and then do the other side. You have to be careful to leave space here for the spine. Just going to start here, put some glue all the way around. And if you haven't used Fabri-Tac before, it does have an odor, but it's not so strong that I have to have ventilation. So I'm just going to try to get that all centered. And then glue that down. And the glue shouldn't seep through because this batting is pretty substantial. So now I'll put glue on the spine. It comes out. And on the front cover. And I could have sewed my cover on to this cardboard if I wanted to, but I thought it would just be nice to glue it on. Especially if you don't have a sewing machine. Okay, so I've got glue on the spine and on the front cover. Just gonna put that down. Just kind of smooth it down with my hands. And then I'm going to bring it up like this. Make sure that our spine is going to be able to have enough bendable room. And none of the glue has seeped through, so that's good. Excuse me. So now, while that's drying, I'm going to kind of trim off a little bit of this excess in the corners so that this part can be glued down. And then we will also have to cut right here for our spine. So just kind of leave enough to bend over, but not too much. I got this batting I want to cut. And I want to cut right by the corners. close to the corners. There's not a lot of bulk. And trim off this side a little bit. And we should be good to go. Oh, now we gotta make a couple of slits right here so that this part will bend up for our spine. Okay, that should be good. Now we can go around and glue this part down. Start up here. And we just want to glue it right to the edges on all four sides. And try to get it as tight as you can when you fold it over. Put a little more glue here. And just pull it down and glue it down. Excuse me. And this part will be covered by the scrapbook paper. Turn it around now and do the same thing on this side. As tight as you can. Glue that little part down there. Should be good. Now we'll glue these edges. And we'll make sure we get our corners squared off. A little extra glue on the corners. And pull it tight. See, our corners are pretty well squared off there. And later on, if we want to put some decorative corner pieces on the corners, we could always do that. Okay, and our last side. My glue will cooperate and come out. Okay, make sure I get this corner glued down good. And this corner. And the middle. Just gotta fix this one a little bit. Okay, I think I got it. There's the back and the front and the spine. So while that's drying, we'll get our scrap of paper and get that cut. And I'm gonna have to go wash my hands off now. They're full of fabric tack. I'll be right back. Okay, so now we can cut our scrap of paper to fit 7 inches high, and right up to the spine is 5.5 inches. So we can cut 2 pieces, 7 by 5.5. We're not going to put any paper in here. That's the spine, and I will show you what we're going to do with that in a minute. So I've got this scrapbook paper. I thought it would look very nice. It matched the cover well. So I'm going to cut 2 pieces, 5.5 inches by 7. I have this old cutter here I bought a long time ago. Not sure if this piece will work. Let me see, how do I want to cut it here? I don't want that. Don't want that little hole in there. So I'm going to cut that off. And cut, let's see, 7 inches high. By 5 inches wide. 5.5 inches wide. And this side. Okay. work well. Oops, I think I got the wrong piece. Okay, that will work well. And one more. See what this one is. See if this one will work. Yes. Perfect. Okay, just need this piece or this. So we have 2 pieces of scrapbook paper that we can glue down now. And we will use the Fabri-Tac. Just glue all around the edges. And in the middle. Just going to put a little extra glue on cloth. And we'll just center this, cover everything up, and press it down. Making sure we can still bend our cover. Don't want to get it in there on the spine. Okay, now we can do this one. Same way. Just love Fabri-Tac. Glues very well, and it isn't too expensive if you buy it at Joann's with a coupon. Usually get it for half price. Oh, I need to put a little more glue on this fabric. Usually try to get it at Joann's with a coupon when there's a half price coupon. Okay, glue. I'm talking about how good you are, so now you need to behave. Okay. And I need to get it over a little farther away from that spine. Oops. Make sure my fabric's underneath. Perfect. Okay. Outside, inside. Now we need to decide if we're going to have a hidden spine or a spine that we just punch holes through and sew in our signatures that way. I usually like to do a hidden spine, like I did with this one. Spine is hidden, and then you just sew the signatures to the spine and then glue it in there. So I might do that. I have to find my template now. I don't know. I want to just sew them in instead. I think I'm going to do the hidden spine. So I'm going to go get my template and I'll be right back. Okay, so this is my template that I use for my cake mix boxes. It's just a paper that I drew the size of the spine, and then I measured the holes for 2 signatures, where I would punch the holes to sew in the papers for 2 signatures. But this, I just want to use 1 signature, so I'm still going to use this template, but I'm only going to make holes for 1 signature. And what I usually use for my cake mix box journals is the tab from the cake mix box itself. It's usually just the right size, so it fits in there perfectly. And I just need to make holes for 1 signature. So turn this over, because this is the side where I'll be punching the holes. And you can eyeball it or you can measure. I usually try to measure, because I like to get pretty much in the center, so it would be 3.5 inches in the center, which would be right about there. And then I usually go down 1 inch from the top. And 1 inch from the bottom. So then you've got your mark here, inch from the top, mark here, inch from the bottom, and a mark in the center. So then you just eyeball where the center is, where you want to punch your hole. And then right here for the top, and here for the bottom. So now we have 3 holes. I'm going to get my Crop-A-Dile to punch the holes, which I should have had it here. Sorry, I have to go get it. Okay, I have it, and if you have one of these, that's great. If you don't, you can always use one of these small punches, or you can just use maybe a pencil or a needle or something to poke the holes. I like to use the Crop-A-Dile, and I use the 1/8 setting. I used to just punch a hole with an awl, and that works fine too. Just to make sure I got these all straight. If they're not straight, it doesn't work too well. it looks straight. Okay. So we're going to punch a hole right here. And right here in the middle. And at the bottom. We have 3 holes now for 1 signature. That's going to be glued in there after I put the papers in. I will cover this up before I glue it in, before I sew the signatures. I will show you that. Okay, we're going to set all this aside because we want to start building our signatures. I have this one piece of paper that I cut 5.5 inches wide and 7 inches tall. It should fit in there perfectly for a signature. And this is some jelly plate paper that I created. So I've got these papers here that I was gonna cut to size, like 5 by 7. So just printed papers, randomly printed with different images on the front and the back. Some of them are echo prints. Some of them are jelly plate prints. Some are prints that I made a copy of a doily I had. Just random. So I need 8 pages because that will give me 32 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. Each page gives me 4 sides. And then 8 times 4 is 32. So I'm just going to start cutting these down to 5 by 7. Fold it in half. And it is 5.5 this way. Don't have to cut too much off. And 7 this way. Crocodile just fell down. Okay, so here we have 1 page with 4 sides. I'm just going to continue doing this, and I will be back. Okay, I've got my 8 pages now. They're all cut down, and I'm ready to make my signature. But before I do that, I am going to make some little inside pockets here. And I had this piece of scrapbook paper left over, so I thought I'd fold it in half and see if I can get 2 pockets out of it. I always like to make pockets on the inside of my journals. So I'm just going to cut this in half. And probably put it this way. Both just fit. I think I'll cut them down a little bit, and I'm going to score probably 1/4 inch on all 3 sides. Let's see, do I want? Yes. score probably a 1/4 inch. Should be 3 spaces here. And this will be on the bottom. And that one scored. And this one. And if you don't have a scoreboard, you can just measure in a 1/2 inch or a 1/4 inch, and then square it with your ruler if you don't have a scoreboard. And I don't have my punch. Just 1 second, I'm going to grab my punch. So I want to put a notch here at the top. Oh, I was going to cut them down. Let's see, how much do I want to cut them down? Probably about a 1/2 inch. They're 4 inches, so I'm going to make them 3.5. Okay, good. And then we're going to make a little notch in the top. About halfway in. Like that. That. And I think I'll put this one in the front cover and this one in the back. I'm just going to ink it a little bit. Always like to ink them. Makes it look better, I think. And then we'll fold over our sides and our bottom. Cut off these corners. Like that. And then we'll ink these sides. And we'll glue this one in there. And we'll do the same with this. We'll ink this one also. Might add a little stamp or sticker or scripture verse or something to this back one after I get it glued in. Just to decorate it up a little bit, but I'll do that later. Okay, so I'm going to use my Fabri-Tac for this, just because I don't have my other glue here. I'm just going to glue these down. Just put the glue on each tab. And there we have our front pocket. And our back pocket. Okay, go down, don't be difficult. All right, now we can work on our signatures. So after you get your papers cut, you just need to decide how you want them to be laid out. Which one you want to go first and which one you want in the middle. I think I want this one first. This one. Not sure which one I want in the middle. Maybe this one. I think I'm going to have this one be in the middle. Like that. And so the middle one will be number 4. This is number 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so we've got them the way we want them. Just check and make sure that they're all facing the way you want them to face. They're all arranged how you want them arranged. Oops, I have the wrong one in the middle. Good thing I checked. Here's my middle one. Okay, then I usually just press them down really good. Make sure they're arranged, and then take my template and measure where I'm going to mark the holes. So right here, and right here. I'm going to punch your holes the same distance as the template. So we're just going to make little dots right there. And I'll get my crocodile that fell down. Make sure the pages are how we want them, and punch. If you don't have a crocodile, you could use an awl, or you couldn't really use a hand punch for this, so it wouldn't reach to the middle. But you could use an awl, or I have this that I got at the Dollar Tree a long time ago. It does punch very well. It's kind of like an awl. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is punch right where I marked. Okay, so we have our holes. Now what I need to do is get some of my clips. Just want to hold these together when I sew them in. If you don't have binder clips, you could use paper clips, long paper clips if you have them. And I usually clip them on each side just to hold it together so they don't slip around when I'm sewing them in. So they're ready to be sewn in. I just want to cover this template here now with a piece of fabric. I thought I had some of that pink fabric left. Yes, I do. Just set that aside. I'm going to cover this fabric. So this is going to show this spine is going to show, so we don't want to glue, just glue it in like that. We want it to kind of be covered with fabric and show on this side. You could cover it with fabric, or you could cover it with paper, whatever you want. I'm just going to use some of this fabric. So I'm just going to glue it right down to this fabric like this. leave some on each side. Just a little bit to extend on each side. And I think I will use my painting shears for this. Excuse me. Just cut a little bit off on this side. I think the bottom's fine. So now, excuse me. So now that's glued down and we have to find our holes. Let's trim this here. So I'm going to use this to punch through my holes now. Okay, so there's our spine. And we're going to sew our signatures to this and then glue it in. What I like to do is, when I'm sewing in signatures, I don't have to, I already did that. Never mind, sorry. That was my old way. Okay. Now I just need my needle and some baker's twine. I think I'll use this green. I got this baker's twine at the Dollar Tree, and it seems to work well. So what I do is I measure 2.5 times. Or 3 times, either way. You can always cut it off at the end, but you want to make sure you have enough. So this needle is like a big yarn needle, and just thread your baker's twine or your twine or whatever you're using. You don't tie a knot. Some people do. I don't. We're going to sew our signatures right onto the spine this way with the fabric showing. Sew this way. So first, put your needle through the middle, into the middle of the spine. Gonna get a little closer. So through the middle of your papers, into the middle of your spine. Pull it through. Make sure you leave a tail. I usually leave about that much if I can. And then you go up to the top or the bottom, either way. Go through the top hole of your spine and into the top hole of your papers, of your signature. Keeping your tail inside, and pull it through. Where's my tail here? There it is. Okay. Pull it through, and then you go down to the bottom, go through the bottom, go through the bottom spine, pull that through. Make sure your tail's still inside. Pull that through. So now this is what we have. We have our tail here. We have we went through the middle, we came up through the top, we went down and went back out through the bottom, all into this spine. Here's how we have it now. We need to go back through the middle of the spine hole back into our papers. Try to keep it, try to go in on the other side of where you went out before. Okay, so here we come back in and we pull everything tight and we make sure that take your needle up now. Make sure we have one side of this thread on this side and one side on this side. And we pull it tight, not real tight, but tight enough to hold our papers. And we tie, I usually tie 3 knots. One. Don't tie your knot until you're sure that your papers are all tight. Okay, then you can either trim off your tails or you can leave them hanging, whatever you want to do. I usually trim them off unless they're real long, and then I let them hang out. I'm just going to trim them off right there. Okay, then you can take your clips off, or your paper clips. Put your needle away, and you have your signature sewn in. And it seems to be very secure. Now this is what we're going to glue to our spine. Because we did a hidden spine. If we didn't do it this way, we would have punched our holes here and sewed the signatures right into this. I just like to do it this way because then my signature sewing is glued down and it seems to be more secure to me. So now I'm just going to put a bunch of glue here. to glue that in. And a little bit on the sides. Hold our fabric down. You want to make sure you get enough glue because you don't want the spine coming out. I just put a little extra right where I sewed the signatures. Okay, that should be good enough. Now I'm just going to match this up, top to bottom, side to side, so it fits down in there. Got a little too high there. Fit that cardboard piece in there. And don't worry about the fabric because we can always trim that off. I think I got it down on that side good. And this side. And at the top. We can always trim this fabric off that's sticking out. We want to make sure now that we can open and shut our journal. So you might want to take your bone folder and just go along that spine crease there. Just make sure that your covers will open and shut right. Okay, looks good. It looks good. I'm just going to trim off this fabric here on the bottom. I'm going to use my other scissors. I don't want to get glue on my good fabric scissors. Trim that off really close. I'm going to cut my cover. Okay, come on. It's a little sticky. So I'm going to have to use my fabric scissors. Okay, it's good. It is good. All right. So we have our journal now. We have our signature in, pages, all bend well. They're all sewed in well. There's our center. And we have our back pocket. And our front pockets. And everything looks good. Now I just need to put this little slow stitch piece on the front and figure out how I'm going to have a closure. I'll probably just make a button closure with a hair tie. You can also decorate the spine however you want. And I usually leave the back plain. I think I'm just going to glue this down. I don't think I'm going to make a pocket out of it. Would be nice, but it's kind of big. So I might just glue it down and maybe put a word up there. And before I do that, I have to think about it. I'll be back. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I have this piece of ribbon that I'm going to glue on all the way around the front and the back and let it hang here. And then I will glue my patch on top of that. And this will be my closure. So I don't want to cover this up, and there isn't really room to put a button. That would look good, I don't think. So I'm going to kind of figure out where I want it here. Kind of like right in the middle. And then glue that down. And then glue my patch on. Make sure I have enough. It's even here. And it's in the middle. Okay. Just gonna put some glue right there. Just to kind of tack it down. My glue will come out. Okay, Fabri-Tac. Glue that down. Put some here on the spine. I think it's coming out. Put some here some right here where these two meet. This Fabri-Tac doesn't want to come out now. Oops. That came out too much. Okay. It should work. Now I need to glue this down. If my Fabri-Tac will cooperate. Just going to put some all the way around the edge. And a little bit in the middle. Okay. Now we get it hopefully right in the middle. Smooth it down. Fingers are full of Fabri-Tac. All right, we have our journal. The front cover, our closure, which we can just tie with a bow. An inside pocket, and 32 signatures, and one signature with 32 pages, I mean, and a back pocket in our back cover. All from the cake mix box. Some fabric and a little bit of time. So I hope you enjoyed watching this. I hope you were inspired to try making a journal yourself with the cake mix box or some other kind of box. I hope my instructions were clear enough that you could follow them. If not, leave me any questions in the comment box below and I'll try to answer them for you. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.